There is a question many people on a spiritual path are afraid to ask. It is private, it is uncomfortable, and because it is rarely spoken about honestly, it often becomes wrapped in shame. Can masturbation harm your spiritual life? The answer is not as simple as yes or no. The deeper question is not whether the body has desire. The deeper question is what happens to your awareness when desire takes over. In spiritual work, the body is not an enemy, and desire is not proof that something is wrong with you. Desire is part of being human. It shows that life is moving inside you. But every desire also carries information. It asks you to look more carefully at the state you are living from. Are you choosing with awareness, or are you being carried by an old pattern? Are you giving yourself care, or are you trying to escape a feeling you do not want to meet? Are you honoring the body, or are you using the body to avoid what the heart is asking for? This is why a private act can become spiritually important, not because the act itself is automatically sacred or automatically harmful, but because it reveals your relationship with your own energy. It shows whether you can remain conscious when desire appears, or whether it takes over your attention completely. Welcome back to Momentum Arc, a space for inner exploration and spiritual growth. Your likes, comments, subscriptions, and super thanks help this work reach more people who are ready for real inner change. Many people imagine the spiritual path as a war against desire. They think becoming spiritual means becoming untouched by the body, uninterested in pleasure, and free from every human impulse. So, when sexual desire appears, they immediately turn it into a moral failure. But this is not a mature understanding of spirituality. Sadhguru's teaching offers a useful entry point here. He does not point people toward shrinking from life or suppressing ordinary human experience. Again and again, he points away from denial and toward consciousness. The spiritual path is not about rejecting life. It is about experiencing life with fuller awareness. The problem is not that the body has desires. The problem begins when a person loses awareness inside those desires. Masturbation, then, is not the first issue. The first issue is your relationship with the impulse. If the desire appears and you can see it clearly, there is already space. You can feel the body, notice the emotion beneath it, and ask what is really moving in you. Maybe it is simple physical release. Maybe it is stress. Maybe it is loneliness. Maybe it is the need to feel wanted, safe, held, or comforted for a moment. None of this has to be judged, but it does need to be seen. Spirituality does not ask you to become less human. It asks you to stop being ruled by parts of yourself you refuse to understand. When you condemn desire without looking at it, you create shame. When you indulge desire without awareness, you create a loop. Neither one brings freedom. True spiritual practice begins in the middle place. You can look at the desire without hatred and without becoming its servant. So, does masturbation harm your spirituality? It can, but not in the way many people think. It does not damage your spiritual life simply because the body has released tension or experienced pleasure. The deeper question is whether the act has become a way to leave yourself. If masturbation becomes a repeated escape from loneliness, boredom, anxiety, sadness, or pressure, then it can begin to drain more than physical energy. It can drain attention, and attention is one of the most important forces on the spiritual path. When you are caught in a cycle of impulse and relief, the mind begins to learn a pattern. A feeling rises. You do not listen to it. You soothe it quickly. Then it returns, often stronger than before. Over time, the behavior may stop being a choice and become a private reflex. This is where spiritual dullness can enter. Not because pleasure is evil, but because unconscious repetition makes the inner world smaller. The questions that matter begin to fade. Who am I becoming? What am I truly seeking? What kind of life am I practicing with my attention every day? If each impulse pulls you away from those questions, then the problem is no longer the act alone. The problem is the state of being that surrounds it. But the opposite is also possible. If you can remain aware, something changes. You can see the desire without collapsing into shame. You can begin to understand what is being asked for beneath the surface. Then, even this private moment can become a doorway into self-knowledge. The same behavior can either deepen unconsciousness or deepen awareness. What changes its spiritual meaning is the state you bring to it. We live in an age of instant satisfaction. Food, entertainment, images, messages, and stimulation are always within reach. A desire appears, and the world offers a quick answer. But a quick answer does not always touch the real need. Masturbation can reveal this misunderstanding of satisfaction very clearly. On the surface, it may look like a physical urge, but often, underneath it, there is a quieter hunger. A hunger to be comforted, a hunger to feel close to something, a hunger to forget the emptiness of a long day, a hunger to feel alive when life has become mechanical. This is why the moment after the act matters. Do you feel more connected to yourself or more distant? Do you feel peaceful or slightly hollow? Do you feel cared for, or do you feel that something in you has been avoided again? These questions are not meant to create guilt. They are meant to bring you back to honesty. Sometimes people use masturbation to fight loneliness. Loneliness can be one of the hardest emotions to sit with. It makes a person feel exposed, unseen, and separate from life. For a moment, physical pleasure can soften that feeling. But if the loneliness is never met directly, it continues to wait underneath the habit. From a spiritual view, loneliness is not an enemy. It is a signal. It may be asking you to return to yourself. It may be asking for connection, rest, tenderness, or the courage to admit what you truly need. When you stop treating loneliness as something to escape, it begins to become a teacher. It shows you where you have abandoned yourself. It shows you what kind of love you have been trying to replace with stimulation. This is where shame becomes dangerous. Shame does not make a person more spiritual. It pushes the real need deeper into hiding, and whatever is hidden will keep asking to be seen. Every person carries life energy. That energy can become creativity, devotion, attention, love, discipline, healing, work, art, or deep presence. It can also become restlessness, compulsion, fantasy, and escape. The energy itself is not the problem. The direction of the energy is what matters. This is why spiritual traditions often speak carefully about sexual energy, not because the body is dirty, but because this energy is powerful. It can bind you to repetition, or it can be transformed into clarity and vitality. It can make you more awake, or it can make you more scattered. If masturbation happens without awareness, as a habit you barely choose, it can feel as if precious energy is being poured into empty ground. Nothing grows from it. The body may be relieved for a moment, but the deeper self is not nourished. Your will feels weaker. Your attention becomes easier to pull away. The same impulse comes back, asking again. But energy does not need to be suppressed. Suppression only creates another form of tension. What is suppressed often returns through fantasy, irritation, obsession, or shame. The aim is not to punish the body. The aim is to become capable of holding energy without immediately throwing it away. There is a difference between repression and mastery. Repression says, I must not feel this. Mastery says, I can feel this fully and still choose what to do with it. That choice is where spiritual strength grows. When desire rises and you remain present, you begin to reclaim your energy. You may still choose release. You may choose rest. You may choose breath, movement, creativity, prayer, or honest connection. But now the energy is no longer dragging you. You are learning to guide it. The point is not to become pure by denying your body. The point is to become whole by no longer abandoning your awareness. The most useful spiritual question is often the simplest one. Before you act, pause. Not for an hour, not as a punishment, just long enough to see yourself clearly. Ask, what am I actually needing right now? Am I tired? Am I lonely? Am I trying to calm stress? Am I avoiding a feeling, a decision, a conversation, or a responsibility? Am I seeking pleasure, or am I seeking escape? These questions change the entire experience. They turn an impulse into a practice. If you decide not to act, do not turn that into pride. Use the energy gently. Take a walk. Breathe deeply. Write a few honest lines. Stretch the body. Drink water. Clean one small corner of your space. Send a message to someone you actually want to connect with. Let the energy move into life instead of closing into secrecy. If you choose to act, do not add shame afterward. Stay aware. Notice the state that led you there. Notice the feeling that remains. Notice whether you are more present or more absent. This observation is more important than self-attack. Meditation can help because it trains you to see an impulse before you become it. Self-reflection can help because it reveals the story underneath the impulse. Together, they create a small space between desire and action. That space is freedom. Without that space, desire controls you. With that space, desire becomes information. It shows where energy is moving, where loneliness is speaking, and where the body is asking for care. It also shows where the heart is asking to be heard. A private desire can then become a mirror. It can show you how you treat yourself when no one is watching. It can show whether you meet yourself with violence, shame, avoidance, tenderness, or truth. This is why even the most ordinary behavior can become spiritual practice. Spirituality is not only found in silence, temples, meditation rooms, or beautiful moments of peace. It is also found when a familiar impulse appears and you choose to meet it with consciousness instead of falling asleep inside it. Real spiritual growth is not the destruction of desire. It is the understanding of desire. You can choose masturbation. You can choose not to. But either choice becomes meaningful only when it is made with awareness. If you abstain out of fear, shame, or spiritual pride, you may still be controlled by the same desire. If you indulge without attention, you may still be trapped in the same cycle. Freedom is not found in the act itself. Freedom is found in the relationship you have with it. When you can sit with desire without immediately obeying it, something opens. When you can feel loneliness without running from it, something steadies. When you can look at shame with compassion, something old begins to loosen. You are no longer fighting your humanity. You are learning how to live inside it with more light. Sadhguru and many other spiritual teachers remind us in different ways that the path is not against life. It is a deeper participation in life. The body, the heart, the mind, and the energy within you are not separate enemies. They are parts of one living field, asking to be understood. So the question is not only, does masturbation harm spirituality? The better question is, does this action bring me closer to myself or farther away? Does it come from love or from escape? Does it leave me more conscious or more divided? Does it help me understand my energy, or does it keep me repeating what I do not want to see? When you ask in this way, the answer becomes more honest. Masturbation does not have to become a spiritual obstacle. It can become a doorway into a deeper understanding of your needs, your loneliness, your energy, and your capacity to choose. Desire itself is not a prison. The prison is unconsciousness. The prison is shame. The prison is being pulled by an impulse you are afraid to look at. But when desire is met with love and awareness, it can stop being a chain. It can become a teacher. May you learn to meet every part of yourself without hatred. May you stop using shame as a path to purity. May you discover that spiritual freedom is not found by escaping the body, but by becoming conscious inside the life you have been given. And the next time desire rises, you do not have to turn away from yourself. You can pause, breathe, and ask with honesty, what is really asking to be loved here?